It's the Gear Tester here, and this is my update video on the Glock 36. I recently produced a video which I entitled Range Report 1, and when I do a review of a firearm, I usually do Range Report 1, 2, and 3, and during the firing and testing that I do of the gun, and then I do a tabletop review. And then during Range Report 1 on the Glock 36, I had a number of problems with the gun. It was the same problem every time. This gun failed to extract the round, so the slide would not necessarily lock back, but I would have a magazine that was full of rounds, and it would just fail to extract the round. So I'd have an empty case. Okay, this is an empty round, and it would just be like so. The problem was that you couldn't just drop the slide on it because there was a magazine full of rounds there, and it just caused more problems. It didn't double feed or anything like that, but it just meant that you had to drop the magazine, and then you usually had to get in here with your finger, okay, and get that round out, put the magazine back in, and then close, okay, the slide. And I did that a number of times, and so I got home and I called Glock recently, talked to them a little bit about the Glock 36 and what the problems I was encountering there, and telling them about the failure to extract. And we talked a little bit, and they were happy to have me send the gun to them. But they did say the Glock 36 is a unique little pistol. It is thin. It is lightweight at about 22 ounces. Okay, and in a 20-ounce range. And they said, you know, it's a unique pistol to shoot. If you haven't shot it a lot, you may be encountering these problems. You may be not locking your wrists appropriately and giving the gun a firm enough grip to have it be able to recoil properly and eject the round from it. So I think I'm probably not the best individual to continue testing the Glock 36. I did have another individual shoot this gun. I am a relatively small guy. I'm probably usually a small size glove, although sometimes I have to go to a medium because my palm is wide, but my fingers are short. And this individual is a much larger guy than me, and he had no problems shooting this gun. And I think it was because of the weight, the additional weight of his hands, and that he was locking his wrists, and I may not have been doing that. I did fire the gun left-handed. Okay, and I expected to have problems firing it left-handed. Had no problems. Okay, I did have some problems when I fired it right-handed, and I think that's because I didn't lock my wrist. Because I'm right-handed and I never shoot left-handed. It was odd, and I locked my wrist better firing it one-handed, and the gun had no malfunctions when I did that. So I find the gun particularly has this failure to extract when I am shooting, and as long as I'm focusing on just shooting the gun and I'm not trying to hit anything, and I'm not focusing on my trigger reset, I don't have a problem generally. But when I start focusing on the trigger reset, okay, that trigger reset, and when I start focusing on lining the sights up and making sure I'm hitting, then I have that failure to extract. And I think that's because I'm just not giving the gun a firm backing to recoil against. And of course, these are recoil operated guns, so they need to recoil all the way back and do it appropriately and have the right hold on the gun so that it can do that. And so I think that my problems with the Glock 36 are because of me, not because of the gun. And after my conversation with Glock, we seem to kind of feel that was the case as well. So I'm going to discontinue testing on the Glock 36. It is a great gun. I like the fact that it's thin. I'm not bothered by the fact that it only has 6-round magazines. You can get an extended floor plate and make them 7 rounds. That's not a problem to me. You go in, you go in knowing that you're going to get a gun that has limited capacity. Maybe you live in an area where your magazine are limited to 7 or 10 rounds. So that's the reality there. But there are some things I don't like about the Glock 36. One of those is the fact that the magazines are not drop free. Now that one did for me, and if I do it just right, but I found when I actually shot the gun, okay, if you lock the slide back and I tried to drop the magazine, they don't drop free. Okay, we'll do that again, close it. They don't drop free, so I have to come up and I have to pull the magazine out and then insert another one. It just slows my reloads down. That's one thing I don't like about the Glock 36. I also don't like that they don't have a Gen 4 version out. So it has this, like I would call it Gen 2 or Gen 3 texturing. I find that the texturing on the Gen 4 is more grippy. I just like it better and it feels better in my hand. I might not have kept the Glock 36 even if it had functioned flawlessly in my hands because of the fact that 45 auto ammo is expensive. For every round that I shoot out of this gun, I can shoot 2 rounds of 9mm. And if I'm just shooting for fun, I'm going to go with 9mm. 45 is expensive, so I would find that I would not be shooting the Glock 36 as much as I would be my 9mm pistols. All right, just because of cost. Now, I definitely feel the 45 ACP is a much more powerful round, a better round than the 9mm, but we're still dealing with pistols. And because the gun doesn't function well in my hands, I would view this gun not as a recreational firearm just because of the cost of the ammo. I would view this gun as a self-defense firearm. And because of that, and because I've seen that when I shoot right-handed with it, it seems to have those failures to extract more regularly than even when I'm shooting with 2 hands. Okay, and it does happen regularly enough. If I had to deploy this and use this to defend myself or my family, and especially in a situation where someone's attacking me, I'm probably going to have a hurt hand. I may have used my left hand to push somebody away. My left hand may have been hurt. Somebody may have hit it, or my right hand, and I may need to be firing this gun one-handed. And I've seen the problems with this gun, and you can't just tap, rack, and reassess when you have those failures to extract. You're going to have to drop the magazine, you're going to have to rack it back, lock the slide back, and extract those probably with your hand, and then insert the magazine, and it's definitely a two-handed operation. So for me personally, this would not be a good gun the way I'm shooting it currently for defense, and that to me would be its main and primary purpose or intended purpose for me. So Glock 36 I think is a good gun. I will say this, I did a little quick search on YouTube of videos on the Glock 36, and with the exception of one that I found, now I didn't watch them all, people were having problems either with their thumb coming up and hitting the slide release and locking the slide back, or with failures to extract. I think the Glock 36 is its unique own animal, own style of gun, and if you're going to buy one of these, you may want to think about purchasing 400 or 500 rounds and really spending your time on learning how to shoot this particular gun well. It is a Glock, but it's a little bit unique in the fact that it's 45, it's single stacked, and I think that it recoils a little bit differently. My 9mm pistols I can shoot even if I limp wrist. I've encountered no problems with them. I have previously encountered some problems with a different Glock 19, but I have a new Glock 19, and that's not causing me any problems. So that's my update video on the Glock 36. I'm just continuing testing. Thank you so much for your views and your subscriptions. My goal is to produce quality video reviews of shooting, camping, and survival gear. This is the Gear Tester, signing off.